It's big dog season, and you can't stay still because you want it. Talk that talk, George. You still scraping your plate because you're hungry. Talk that talk.
According to the latest data from the CDC, more than 1.2 million Americans are living with HIV. And thanks to modern medicine, preventing and treating the disease is now possible. But the stigma attached to the virus remains. ABC News contributor LZ Granderson is discussing that story he knows all too well, revealing he's been living with HIV for years. In tonight's Prime Focus, Steve Osunsami sits down for a powerful conversation with LZ to hear why he's speaking out now and how the virus is disproportionately affecting others.
I've just told my best friend yesterday, told some other close friends yesterday.
It's like coming out all over again.
It was a lot like coming out over again. I found myself apologizing a lot.
For?
Keeping secrets.
The secret that LZ Granderson has kept for nearly 15 years.
I just keep thinking responsibilities.
Is one he hopes that by sharing now will save someone's life.
I am HIV positive and have been for a long time.
Can we please stop it with this narrative that you gotta have yourself and no one else to win a freaking chip?
He explains that for an openly gay sports reporter, writer, podcaster, and TED talker, who way back in 2013 was even called a hero for living his life so openly.
Thank you very, very, very much for this award.
That it stings him today to think that he ever let fear and shame hold him from sharing such an important truth with nearly everyone in his world.
I used to hide my pills before the housekeeper shows up.
Wow.
In my socks.
You hid your pills in your socks before the housekeeper because you didn't want your housekeeper to
I didn't want my housekeeper to find out.
You were afraid that she would tell someone?
I just didn't want anyone to know.
Yeah.
My mom didn't know.
If he wins this time, this will be his 7th Wimbledon title.
He says he remembers once cutting it close, getting to an assignment he fought for, the Wimbledon Tennis Championships in London, because he was too afraid to go out and get the pills he needed there.
Heaven forbid I have to tell my producer why I need to go to the drugstore now. You know what I mean? I didn't want any situation in which anyone would be asking me any questions like, why do you need to go to the drugstore right now? There were people dying of AIDS jokes in my environment, in my atmosphere.
That you were hearing.
So I definitely didn't feel like I was in a place where I felt strong enough that I could do all of that plus that. So I kept it to myself. Plus the guilt, trying to figure out who was it, why did you do it? All these thoughts in my head.
Were you worried you were going to have to share that with people, or people were going to ask, or you would need those answers?
I was worried I was going to shine a bad light on my community.
He describes some of the shame, fear, and secrecy that help explain why even in today's world of better knowledge and better drugs, HIV is still killing nearly 5,000 Americans each year. There's a daily pill called PrEP that prevents the disease, and still more than 36,000 people were diagnosed with HIV in 2019. More than 2/3 of them were black or brown, and every year nearly 19,000 of those diagnosed are in the South.
It's killing all of us, but it's really killing black people. And it's killing black people because we're afraid to talk about it. We whisper about it.
He points to figures from people in the fight against HIV at the CDC, showing that among black Americans in particular, only about 13% of people who could benefit from PrEP are actually taking it.
I mean, in my life, doing HIV testing and doing HIV work, there's not one HIV diagnosis I've ever made or any bad outcome with HIV that I can't somehow trace back to stigma. So I think that it's 100% a stigma thing.
You have queer black people who are dying, you have heterosexual black people who are dying, and no one's talking about it. So if you're not having the conversations and we're dying in silence, I don't see a path of joy coming out of that.
He happily shares that he was inspired by the mother of the world-famous Beyonce Knowles, who flew to the National Association of Black Journalists annual conference and told the story of her nephew, Johnny, who died of AIDS.
She flew for wherever Beyonce was to Birmingham, Alabama,
Right.
to tell Black journalists to get the word out about this virus that is still killing us, and especially Black women. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, she talking to me? Who's she talking to? But I was just like, I have to do my part.
My prayer is that AIDS and HIV is eradicated completely, and I feel that it's in the reach. I think Johnny's message today would be to keep on taking care of yourself, because there's hope and people are living, they're not dying.
When did you learn that you were HIV positive?
So we were in Grand Rapids. I was with my partner, who's now my husband, and I was getting my hair done. And I started to get like this huge wave of heat, and I started to sweat, and then everything went black. And I woke up in the ambulance. Got into the hospital, and I'm all hooked up to everything, and the doctors think I'm having a heart attack. So my husband's rushed into the hospital, and they ran a bunch of tests. And the only thing that came back was that I was positive.
He has a son who was a teenager at the time, and they kept him from seeing the test results.
The thing that went through my mind was the fact that my son was there in the room. I remember saying to God, I'm not done yet.
And you weren't by any means.
That was,
You know.
it was like, it was just about him. I had to take care of him.
Yeah, I hear you.
So that's the only thing I was thinking about.
Outside of a hip, he's worn down playing basketball.
That's the thing I've always wondered.
LZ Granderson is in great health. His son is now a successful and grown man, but only learned about his father's health condition a few weeks before this interview.
It went really well.
Okay.
The first thing he said was, wow. And then he says, I'm proud of you, Pops. So I'm very grateful that God kept me.
Yeah.
So I can get him across that finish line, because that was the only thing I could think of that day.
Yeah.
He says if just one person hears him now and goes to get the medicine they need to prevent this disease or to fight it, or if another person starts thinking of people with HIV as having a medical condition and not a moral one, then revealing his truth will have been more than worth it.
My hope in doing this, Steve, really is to encourage people to be the hero in their own lives, especially queer Black men like us,
Yeah.
who are afraid of finding out or afraid of people thinking of them as less than. When you saw me covering Wimbledon, I was HIV positive then. I'm pretty sure I was looking happy.
Yeah.
So we can stop this, we can take care of ourselves, we can live healthy, productive lives, but we can't do any of that if we don't get past the shame to ask for help.
Our thanks to Steve Osinsami and to LZ for sharing his story. You can continue to celebrate Pride with ABC News by tuning in to some of the largest Pride marches and parades on our Pride Across America special this Sunday, June 30th, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern, streaming on ABC News Live and Hulu.
All right, today is Wednesday, it's June 26th. It is approximately 10:24 p.m. I've had a very, very, very long day. I know that a lot of you all seem to think that I could just sit around and plop down and make a YouTube video. But I do have let me put this phone on mute. I do have a very busy lifestyle over here. I work from out my home, so there are people coming and going. I'm still finishing up some stuff in the basement. There was a worker who came in who was doing punch-out stuffing. I have to kind of hold his hand and walk him through stuff because he's so afraid he's going to break something. I don't want to break nothing. Just drill through that thing so we can get this mess done. He's been over here for days now. And then I had an unexpected visitor pop in today, unannounced. I hate when people come to my house unannounced. But this particular person I had been wanting to see for a while, and they happened to be in the area, and they came over unannounced right as I was trying to get out of here to take out of the house to go take care of some stuff. And I just said, let me talk to this person because I've been wanting to see them for a minute. And they were in the area and they just popped by unannounced. And this particular person, I gave them a pass because I didn't want to see them. Otherwise, they would have still been ringing that damn doorbell. But back to the subject matter at hand, my trip to Turkey. And as I was explaining in the last video, after I woke from my surgery and they had shaved all my teeth down to little nubs, and I'm in the process of making basically I was asleep. They put me to sleep. I woke up, and in the midst of all this confusion, somehow or another they said that I had tested positive for HIV. They took me to the back room, to the main office. The head director and a translator were talking to me, and they said that when they were running labs, I had tested positive. And this, I was here earlier in the year in January, I was negative. Now all of a sudden I was positive. I remained very calm about the ordeal, mainly because I was on a sedation and Xanax pills. I had took a bunch of Xanax pills. The whole time I was over there, my anxiety was sky fucking high. And I had them Xanax pills. I had 90 pills when I went over there. I got don't ask me, I got 90 of them. They're supposed to only give you 30 at a time, but I had 90 of them motherfuckers. Some of them I saved up for, I don't take them every day. But I had about a 90-day supply, and I wasn't meaning to take a 90-day supply. When I got over there, I realized I bought the whole bottle of these pills. Normally I take them and pour them into another container and take, but I took a bunch of those Xanax pills over there. And I thought I was popping 3 a day. That is not highly recommended to anyone. And I'm not suggesting anyone do that, but my anxiety was sky high, and my anxiety would come down. I'd take another pill. I was like, okay, because it was a journey. And they weren't helping me because of the language. We had translators, but there was a lot of stuff that I really wish had not happened. And this was one of the things that took place. When they ran that test, they did some type of test and it showed up HIV positive, and they stuck me, the guy I was with, and a nurse in a Maybach van, and hustled us. It took us about an hour and a half in traffic to get to this other main hospital where they could run more lab work, because they didn't have the facilities where they were doing the dental work at, but they could really do the type of work that they need to do. So they were the hospital where if you're having plastic surgery, butt implants, liposuction or something, you'd be at this particular hospital. So I had to go over to the hospital. It took us about an hour and a half to get over there in that traffic. And they put a nurse in the van with us and got over there with the paperwork and stuff. The goal was to find out, to quickly get to the bottom of this, because it could have an impact on the dental work I was doing and how to proceed forward. So we get over there. By this time, and I'll be very honest with you all, by this time when I got into that van, I was pissed. I was starting to get very angry about a lot of stuff. And I don't like the way this was handled. The way they put me into the back room and kind of dropped this bomb on me, and I was half, out of it. It was just a lot going on. And the question that came to my head was, okay, let's say that I am HIV positive. What impact does this have on me getting this dental work done over here? What is the importance of this? That's what really made me angry. And they couldn't tell me. I'm like, okay, because we run into this other hospital, we trying to verify this. I'm showing you all why I have a negative test, and I just took the negative test on a few days before. And I also showed them the medication I had just started that I wasn't taking in January. I was taking Truvada PrEP medication by pill version. When I came back to Turkey, I was doing the injectable PrEP, and I had just got a shot of that Monday. So we were discussing that. They weren't familiar with the medication. What's the name of that damn medicine? They were not familiar with it. And I believe that was the reason why the test was positive in my head. But we had to find out the truth. So what was going on? So of course they put me into this Maybach van and they hustled us across town. And by this time I was angry, y'all. I was angry because, and I may have to pause. I get these hiccups all just hit me. Wow. I just got in from the gym. So let's see if the hiccups go away. But I was angry. I don't like the way I was being treated. I don't like what was being said. I don't like how any of that went down at that point. So, I was in this van as we're driving across there. I was frustrated because I was in pain. The anesthesia was wearing off. And, yeah, I'm at the pause because these hiccups are about to tear my ass up. Hold on. I got to stop these hiccups now. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. And since I had to go get rid of the hiccups, I meant to take my damn shoes off when I was over in that other bathroom. I'm in my office right now. It's 10:36. I'm tired as hell, y'all. But I'm going to finish this video since I started it. Take my shoes off. And while I was down there, guess what I went and got? A vodka cranberry. Because you always eat vodka cranberry after a long day dealing with crazy niggas. Anyway, where was I? Oh, I was pissed. So on the way over to the hospital, the main hospital, where they do all your labs and stuff, which we had been there before anyway. Yeah, the last time we were there, we went there and got all our lab work done. Last time we were in January. On the way over there, I just lost the job. And I just started going off. And I told the person with me what was going on. And he was just like, what the fuck? You know, I was like, this is what they're saying. And I don't know if they were targeting me because I was black. You know, it's just all this crazy shit started going through my head. And I remember I was drugged up. And I just got pissed. I was just mad. I was just fucking mad. And then this long drive to get there, my anxiety was sky high. I was fucking livid. And you have to stop and think. Because I knew deep down in my soul this was not right. And I knew that this test was not accurate, that they were rushing me over. I knew this, but at the same time I was like, okay, what if this is correct? You know, there's a side you say, There's another side saying, well, maybe it could be. You know, I'm thinking, could it be? What didn't happen? And even the side of me that was saying, did they do something to me when I was asleep? You know, I'm serious. My brain was going through all kinds of stuff. In this Maybach, driving through all this hellacious traffic in Turkey, that was not a good trip. I mean, it just was not a good trip, y'all. I'm just telling y'all. 11 days of pure hell. This was day 2 or 3. I think this was day 2. It was day 2. Yeah, it was day 2. Because the first day we got there, they did the x-rays. They took us in when we first got there and did something. X-rays. They want to make sure their implants were okay. And then this was day 2, and all this shit was going awry already. We raced over there. I was pissed. I was angry. I told the person I was with what was going on. He couldn't believe it either. And we just was sitting in the back of the van in silence throughout this whole ride. Then we get there, you know, to the hospital. And all these people are gathering around. And you know that they're looking at you. You don't know what they're saying because they're talking in a different language. You're like, well, what are they saying? You know, it's kind of like, you know, the translator's not saying anything. And it's kind of like, okay, well, you know, what are they discussing? And who needs the test? And they decide, and they're like, well, I'm like, it's me, I need the test. But they were like, no, we're going to run both of you all's labs. We're doing everything all over. And I said, fine, whatever. I said, why? I was just being agitated beyond. I just want to get to the answer to this fucking question. You done told me something. We're here now. Let's do this lab. Let's get to the bottom of this. I want to know. You know, at the same time, there's a side of me saying, this can't be accurate. I have this test results from Monday. Then Grady Hospital would not have fucked this up like this. I get all the way over here and y'all acting a damn fool. And there was no way in hell I was going to Turkey without knowing what was going on with my health before I left out of the United States. I'm not insane. So finally we get down and get on the elevator. We go down these halls, we go down these stairs and go into the lab where they pulling the blood and doing all this stuff. We get all this stuff done. They take me back upstairs and we're sitting, waiting. We have the labs pulled, the blood's taken. And then next thing I know, they saying, the driver's now going to take y'all to the hotel. And I'm like, oh, wait a fucking minute. Oh, no, y'all ain't about to do this shit. That's when I said, oh, no. I need to know those lab results now. Before we leave here, I need to know what the fuck is going on. I need to have these results. I need to have this stuff now. And now, finally, everybody can speak English. We won't have lab results until tomorrow. We won't have anything back until tomorrow. We won't get this until tonight. We won't know anything tonight. I'm like, and what? Y'all done drug me way over here. Y'all done got us over here. Got me over here. We got my blood. Got it downstairs. You can't tell me this. I'm not going nothing until tomorrow. I'm like, okay. And that's when I just lost the job. That's when the nigga side of me came out, because I literally started cussing the motherfuckers out because I said, y'all playing a dangerous game with my mental health. Y'all done shaved my teeth down. I'm spitting out blood. Y'all done told me something that I don't know was accurate or not. I need to know what's going on. And that's when the guy, one of the directors came over and said, Mr. Hampton, I promise you tomorrow morning you will have your lab results and we will squash this concern. I promise you in the morning, but we can't do nothing to now. We have it. We have to send it out to another. I said, send it out to another lab. I thought y'all was doing work here. That was not happening. So we got put back into the Maybach van and sent back, driven to the hotel. And that was another long ride. We were staying at the Point Motel in Istanbul, and it was like, I forget the area where it was like a big tourist area. Anyway, drive us back to the hotel. And when I got back to the hotel, and I don't know why, but when I got back to the hotel, I don't know why, I called my mother. Now, mind you, it's probably about 4 or 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in Istanbul, but it's the middle of the night. And I don't know why did I call my mother. Because I knew I was just exhausted at this point, mentally drained. And you know what? It was even later than that when we got back to the hotel. It was about 7 or 8. It was late. It was kind of late. It was because we hadn't fought that traffic. It was fairly late when we got back to the hotel. And for some reason, I called my mother, and she answered the phone. And she answered the phone and said, "What's going on?" I said, "Mama, you will not believe what's going on here in Turkey." And then I went to go explain to her, and she said, "Well, I've been up praying for you all night anyway." And I was like, well, because she knew I was having that surgery that morning. I was being put to sleep. I had told her I was being put to sleep, and for some odd reason, on the side story, people feel like if you're being put to sleep in the surgery that you may not wake up. And so when I told people I was going to be put to sleep to have my dental work over here, people were like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't go to sleep. You might never wake up. And playing into this fear, I had told my mother that I was being put to sleep to have that surgery, that told her the day before, which would have been daytime. You know, I get confused. Over there in Turkey, I think our nighttime is their daytime. Our nighttime was, but anyway. And so my mother I told her about me being put to sleep. I was going to have anesthesia and put to sleep. So there's no way I was going to be able to stay awake for that dental work. Because first off, I do not like dental work, period. And so anyway, my mother answered the phone and we talked. And I told her what was going on. And she said, "Walter, I don't believe that." She said, I just don't believe it. So I said, I said, I know it's not true. And I said, we just have to wait down to the morning. And she said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to get something to eat best I can. Try to eat something. There was a little hotel next door, little restaurant next door. And so I spoke to Mama for a little while, and then we decided to go get something to eat. And it was just a quiet, somber night because it was kind of like, okay, this bomb had been dropped, and I knew it wasn't accurate. I knew it wasn't. I knew it. And then something, you just know deep down like this isn't right. So anyway, after a long sleepless night, the next morning I got a message on my WhatsApp saying, hey, we got the test lab results back in. You are negative. The results are negative. The lab work they did is negative, so you don't have to worry about that. And we'll be picking you all up in a few hours to proceed forward to finish your treatment, the dental work. I had already had most of my stuff done because they did most of my stuff while I was asleep. But the person I was with, he had to get a bunch of my stuff done because he can do everything because he was awake when he did his surgery. So that was the first time in my entire life that I had ever experienced what it felt like for someone to say you tested positive. And I've been being tested for HIV since I was late teens, early 20s. Since I was 19, 20 years of age. And I had never, ever experienced anything like somebody coming back with what they call, what we all know is a false positive. I never experienced anything like that. And then to get all the way to Turkey, it's the difference between experiencing it. I guess if I experienced it in Atlanta or, close to home, but to get way on the other side of the world and then they dropped a bomb on me like that was a doozy. And of course, it's a relief that I found out, okay, this was negative, which I thought it was negative all the time. But it definitely left it makes you just think about things differently. I can admit that I haven't been in the past. There are some things I regret. There's some things, and I did videos about this. There are things that I regret that I didn't say about HIV. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm not the most perfect person. There were things I said out of ignorance, just stupidity. I mean, you know better, you do better. When you grow older, you go wiser. So for me, it was a journey of that because, I've never had that experience before. Luckily, it was a false positive. But what if it wasn't a false positive? But if I really was positive, then what? As I had a whole night to think about how do you move forward. Well, one of the things I already said is I was going to be honest about my status to everyone. That's just how I felt. Like the guy I was with, I told him what was going on. I was like, what was I've always felt that honesty is the best policy when it comes to that. And I was going to adhere to that. And the reason why, I'm reading the comments and stuff people making to and I'm looking at these comments, I'm thinking, I have a ton of people that I love, people that I care a whole lot about. A lot of people I know who live with HIV. And some of the comments were just discouraging that I read. Disheartening. And like I said, I'm not a perfect person. And at one point in time in my life, I've been doing these videos for over a decade now. I'm not the same person I was when I was 10 years ago. I know I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago. I mean, life is about a journey and change and growing as an individual. I firmly believe that living with HIV is, with the right medications, taking your medicines, you can live a normal life. I know so many people living a normal life, taking medicine, no different than me having high blood pressure and taking my blood pressure medicine, which I'm taking in a few minutes and take a shower and go my ass to bed. It's almost 11 o'clock at night. So for me, that's just how I feel now. So I don't care what crazy stuff people say about me. Oh, it's clickbait. No, it wasn't clickbait. I lived through this mess. You know, this is what took place over in Istanbul, Turkey. You know, I decided to share the story after I saw that reporter talking about his status and how he felt he needed to hide his medicine in his socks so the people cleaning his home would know that he was positive. They probably even know what the medicine was. That would be like me hiding my high blood pressure medication. You go in my bath, y'all would come to my house right now, I got a bunch of medicines sitting up in the cabinet. Blood pressure medication. I just started 2 new blood pressure medications. My sleeping pills, all the medicines I take sitting right there. Why would I hide this stuff? You know, and that kind of struck me because if I was positive, would I hide my medicine from people cleaning my house? I probably wouldn't. I'd probably leave my medicine sitting right there. Would I hide it from people and family and friends? I wouldn't give a shit. I'd tell them. That's just how I feel. So anyway, hate to have drawn this out so long today, but I was trying to get the other video out. I said, let me do this tonight because I'm going to go to bed, y'all. I'm tired. But that's what happened in Turkey, in a nutshell. Life is a journey. You know, I read the comments. Somebody said, "Oh, you wake up from this surgery, and bloody surgery, and they dropped this bomb on you." Well, at one point, I was very angry about that whole. I can kind of look back on it and kind of laugh at it now, sort of. That whole trip to Turkey, you know, you're having dental work. Dental work ain't fun. I don't care if you're having it wherever you're having it at. My mouth was messed up for days over there. It was a lot. It was a lot, y'all. And if you ever had extensive dental work, you know what I'm talking about. The pain, the agony, the discomfort, the ability to not really eat, to chew. It was a journey. But I got my teeth. Yay, and I can chew now. My mouth feels great. I have no pain, no discomfort. Taking a medicine to my head feels a lot better. It's about 99% back to normal. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you all. That's what happened. Anyway, today is Wednesday, it's June 26th. Let me edit this video, post it, and I'm going my ass to bed. You all have a good night, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Good night. Why did I test positive? So I found out why. I am taking a injectable prep, and it can create what's called a false positive. So I'm not taking the pill version of PrEP anymore. I'm doing the injectable version of PrEP. I think that's a better version of it. Everybody has their opinion about it. I just think that's best for me is the injectable version of it. To me, that seems more better for me. You know, everybody has a choice. The shots don't bother me. You take a shot every 60 days. But that was the reason why I had that shot that Monday. And that shot, that's why that test served that false positive on that Thursday. So I had the shot Monday. They tested me Monday. Got to Turkey Wednesday. Had the surgery on Thursday. They ran my lab work, blood work. So everything, so that's the reason why it was a false positive. The initial test that they did at the dental clinic before they took me to the actual hospital. So I just wanted to add that in there so you can understand what happened. Anyway, I'm out of here. Let me finish editing this video. I'm out. Bye.